Well, it's Thursday night, everyone, and we're almost there, almost to Friday. And I'm back as Jason this time for End the Simpademic. Simpodamus will be making appearances in the future here. Still trying to think of some ideas for some dress up, sort of cosplay ish thing, for Simpodamus to show up on in future episodes. Nostradamus, of course, was Greek, and so I'm trying to think of what Nostradamus would have worn if he did a YouTube channel. So, with that said, if you have any ideas or you have any clue on that one, drop it in the comments. Would definitely love to see it. Could use a little help here. But anyhow, tonight's episode is about conversations. And I've naturally been a fairly good conversationalist since the late 1990s. I was part of a group called the International Churches of Christ. I was part of the expansion team in Fargo, North Dakota. And the leaders in that group kind of socially outcast me. And so I was forced to learn how to converse with other people and connect with other people outside of that group. And yes, I do believe the International Churches of Christ is a cult. Just for anyone who's asking. But let's get back to the subject at hand here. I learned how to connect with people there because almost out of necessity. Otherwise, I was living my life as a 24-year-old out there by myself, which would not have been healthy. So I learned to have conversations with people. I learned how to meet people. I learned how to connect with people, and the result was, as I've been known to say sometimes, I knew people who I probably, from a class standpoint, from a money standpoint, from a career standpoint, I got to know people who I had no business knowing. A lot of these people went on to become very high-powered individuals, and they went on to become kind of a big deal, if they weren't already. And so I learned how to converse. And so coming back to the present day, learning how to carry on good conversations with people is a skill. And of course, I had to develop it by force. Fortunately, if you're watching this video, you probably don't have to. But I'm going to kind of borrow one today from Anna Jorgensen, who is your wingman on YouTube. And learning how to have good approaching women and learning how to talk to them, she said, is something that comes from naturally just being a good conversationalist in general. And I tend to agree. And I think I've said this on an episode a couple weeks ago, or even a couple days ago. My mind is shot right now. But I tried to start a conversation at a gym with a nice looking little blonde lady. And we just got done with being introduced the routine for the day. 6 different stations kind of running around the circuit. And she was kind of looking around a little lost after she was done. I said, you look lost. And she said, well, yeah, I'm looking for station number 4. Well, lo and behold, I'm at station number 5, and I'm just pointing right behind me. Like, yeah, you're right over there. You're right over there at those kettlebell lifts. And introduced ourselves to each other, but it didn't turn into anything huge. And you know what? That's not the end of the world. Always looking for a big conversation with somebody. Now, I guarantee you I will remember her name when I'm back there. Early next week. I kind of have a hip flexor injury right now, so I'm taking a few days off from the gym because walking around just by itself is kind of hard. as you probably know, hip flexor injuries don't heal very quickly. And so they tend to hang around and they get very difficult to walk around. My first experience with this was actually at a roller skating rink that I used to go to in Katy, Texas, which is my hometown. And I would skate and skate and skate and skate all night. And that was my first experience with a hip flexor injury, which is kind of something that is done that you do to overcompensate for a shortfall, like say in your thighs, or not your hammies usually, but your quads, things like that. You know, your hip flexor kind of kicks in to overcompensate, and if you overstrain it, then you get hurt. And that's what happened to me. But anyway, when I'm back there in a few days, I'm sure, we'll see each other again. I'll just, pick up where we left off, thinking maybe, who knows? I don't worry about those things from an angle of getting a girl. I like talking to good-looking ones. But my expectations are usually zero. And that's okay, because I'm building myself. I'm building this. I'm working out, in addition to working my body out and working my muscles out, I'm also working out my conversational skills. And sometimes things will start a conversation, and sometimes like this one where everybody just kind of jumped into the exercise, it didn't, which is natural, because we're there to work out. We're not there to socialize per se. It's a very serious HIIT boot camp. HIIT, of course, is HIIT, which stands for high intensity interval training, which means excuse me. My dinner got stuck there, but anyway, you work high intensity, short intervals, 45, 60 seconds a piece. And you might do like 3 reps at a station and then move on. That's the way that kind of a gym works. And so the whole thing in the manosphere about women filming men on TikTok, trying to point them out as creeps, doesn't work in this kind of a gym. Number one, they don't allow filming. Number two, we're too busy. These trainers are kicking our asses. And if anybody has the time to film anything there, I'd be shocked. Because most of us don't. So anyway, getting into conversations with somebody of the opposite gender is really, as Anna says, just an extension of being a natural conversationalist in general. And so I'm working on my conversational skills. And while this one didn't start anything, just staying in practice and opening up to somebody who I probably normally wouldn't really talk to. Anna says, practice on people that you normally wouldn't talk to. I normally don't walk up to random women, but she legitimately did look confused. And so I thought I'd try to help. And create, recognizing natural situations like that to start talking to somebody, I think is pivotal. So just be looking out for situations where it's a natural conversation starter. Or in my case, a natural help somebody figure out where the heck they're going starter. And even if it doesn't extend, maybe you'll run into them again, especially if it's in a place that you go to regularly, such as a gym or a class. So I don't have much else to say tonight on that one. I just wanted to kind of carry over that clip from Anna Jorgensen and just say that conversationalism is a skill and you work it out like your muscles at a gym. In my case, at that gym, I was working them both out. So anyhow, that's my suggestion for the night. My little life hack, if you will. It's Jason and the Simpademic. Simpademic will be back in a few days. I think he's going to come back and try to do some more long-term predictions and not try to predict the week or two at hand. Because I think there is a lot to be said about that. So anywho, it's Jason and the Simpademic. You folks have a swell Thursday night. Peace out, homies.